Welcome back, everybody, to the Jin Air SSL Premier League at the Nexon Arena. We're done with 2 series for the night. We have 3 more on the way, and I'm going to spoil it for you guys. It's going to be ByuL versus Patience for Match3.
So we're going to take a look at some of their stats here, I believe. Yep, in head-to-head, but you know what? They actually haven't faced each other all too often, despite the fact that Patience and ByuL have both historically done really well in Star League. ByuL actually losing, very unfortunately, Season 3 to CJ's Hero right after losing just a day or maybe 2 days before losing the GSL Finals. So they both make it very far in Star League in the past, just haven't met each other very often and didn't meet each other in Pro League.
Yep, and the 4th series of the night, match number 4, will be Solar versus Zest. And these guys have definitely faced each other a bunch of times. 5 against 7 in the head-to-head for Legacy of the Void. But Solar on a roll recently. He's part of Splice. He's one of the best CVP players. And Zest can't really say the same about him nowadays.
Yeah, it said his last recent 10 games were 7 and 3. I'm not entirely sure where those stats are coming from exactly, but he is not doing well in terms of his results in this tournament. Losing 0-2 to Innovation and then losing to ByuL. A fairly close series. But this is the great one. This is the match of the evening. Innovation versus Maru. You know, it's a bit crazy. They've only had 1 head-to-head in Legacy of the Void. But that's just because Pro League's over, essentially. And they just didn't meet each other for other reasons.
Yeah. And actually, there was no data for Innovation versus Terran for SSL. Innovation has also historically not done too well in SSL. But he's gotten off to a great start so far. In this SSL, I think he's 4-1 or 4-0 in terms of in terms of games. I think he's the only player so far to be 4-0 and take 2-2-0 so far.
And we'll talk a bit more about that later. As ByuL now is up against his opponent here in Patience, very much the favorite this evening in this best of 3. Patience is 2-2, but you really could call it 0-2. The 2 wins he has are from walkover points versus Alive from last week when Alive gave him a bye. You know, he's back on Dead Pixels now, and this is a strong player overall, but and has historically done really well in this tournament. But I just feel like when you look at his results and his stats here, ByuL will be the big favorite. He beat Zest last week with a 2-1 score.
Yeah, I think it's going to be up to Patience to throw in the wackiness for this series. I think ByuL is pretty straightforward. He generally doesn't do anything too weird. Whereas Patience, he's the timing attack guy. He comes in, that's why he's got that hourglass as his icon. And we could definitely expect some craziness. We are going to be jumping into Newkirk Precinct for Game 1, then Daybreak and Overgrowth.
Yep, going to be these 2-player maps, Newkirk and Daybreak, the bigger ones. Let's go into game number 1, guys. Newkirk Precinct is the map. ByuL versus Patience.
ByuL, 한지원. Patience, 조지현.
Here we are on Newkirk Precinct. Fly Better Fly, Jin Air. Down here in the bottom left, the purple Zerg, it is ByuL. Part of Black Hoodie team.
And his opponent, Patience, Dead Pixels, quite some time now. And, you know, ByuL, one of CJ's best next to Hero. He and Hero carried CJ through Pro League quite a great many seasons. 3 really that you and I got to experience, especially towards the latter parts though, as CJ started to collapse and they lost Coach Park, etc. But during that same time, ByuL did beef up his individual league performances, did have that Star League and GSL back-to-back finals, lost both unfortunately, but look, he's a NASL champion, or no, it was a WCS America actually. But
yeah.
that was Pig Baby. That was the NASL, I believe, if I'm not remembering this incorrectly. It was a long time ago, and Koreans used to fly overseas to take that easy foreigner money. Now it feels like foreigners trying to come over here and get the easy GSL spots. Scarlet and Major qualified yesterday. Yeah, the world's upside down.
We'll see how they do. I mean, I know they've been, well, Scarlet's been practicing here for a while.
I mean, Major's always just been a great Terran. They both had, realistically, Look, I know people are going to be upset, but the truth of the matter is they had some of the easiest runs that any Westerner has ever attempted.
Well, I mean, that's the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
Why be upset? I mean, they get in, which is fantastic. All of us across the world are very happy that they did and are very excited to see what they can do when they actually get into the thick of things, into the real GSL, not just the qualifiers.
Absolutely. It's going to be, you know, it's always stacked. People say it's very top heavy right now in Korea, and that's fine. GSL is the top. And you've got Star League here as well. No one qualified for this one, but time will tell. But for now, this PBZ is ByuL gets a quick hatch. Ling speed coming out. Probes, scouts everything, wants to see if there's a fast third coming out, how many lings are made. Patience did look very nervous before the match started. And you know, if you look at his player cam down there to the bottom right, he still does seem to have a hint of that as he goes into his Stargate opening here. So not going to be the Twilight Council's or Twilight Council play that has dominated this tournament so far in this matchup. So he's going to change it up. So far unscouted by ByuL. And you'd have to imagine this will be Oracle play, but perhaps we see Phoenix's the resurgence. Good scout here, going to verify the third base and its location.
Yeah, really good timing too. Comes in right when that third base is made. And this Adept is not going to get too crazy. It's only one Adept. The second one is in the main, dealing with a Ling right now, who actually gets a really nice scout on that Stargate. So both these players kind of know exactly what's going on at this point.
Yeah, no mystery here. It was going to be the Oracle, as everyone knew. Would have been hyped if it was a Void Ray, but just watch that Oracle come out. A little bit less hype because the Overlord saw it.
An immediate Fleet Beacon would have been even more hype.
Yes. Like Rariam drops his soda can. He's like, it's my Heart of the Swarm beta Nurkirk Precinct build. So, look, I mean, this is good preparation here by ByuL. He's going to have Overlord speed, so he can almost like certainly track the Oracle no matter what. Can verify everything that's going on at the natural. He has a Spore Crawler finishing up. Maybe a second Oracle coming up. I mean, you can't really change plans this late into the game, so he's going to have to commit to it here. Only one Queen at the natural, so he could find something here. He's going to have Adepts poking this third base.
Adepts come in, they're like, oh, nothing's here. Oracle goes straight for the third base. He's also going to say, oh, there's nothing here.
I suppose he could force a cancel on that drone. Not sure if it died or not. I assume it popped out and died. Might have been somewhere else, but either way. He's denying mining. A second Spore comes up. Patience is using this time with all this pressure to take a third Nexus, which is scouted by the Pedestal Overlord that's just to the north of it. And it's just super important that ByuL had all this information. This could have been much worse had he not known. And now he's just kind of calmly responding. Yes, he lost a few workers, but he's just simply remaking them instantly. The big bonus here for Patience is not the worker kills, but the safety, the freedom to take that third Nexus. He's going to target down this Queen here. Not enough energy for a transfuse. Going to micro this away. Should get both. The Adepts come in too. And he's just looking to do more and more damage. Queen should go down no matter what. And now we can actually go for free drone kills as there is no Spore here. This is something that ByuL did not expect. And it pays off big time.
Getting so much damage done here. 6 drones and 2 queens, and he only loses 2 of the Adepts for it.
Not to mention the free safe third base he has with this. He has Oracles to help defend it. He's got 2 pylons and 2 overcharges available. Ooh, tightens the wall as well. This could have been disastrous, but he's even prepared for this eventuality.
Yeah.
And he deals with this handedly.
Oh, and by the way, he did lose one of the Oracles to the Queen that it looks like it was coming from the natural, so a little bit more loss for Patience, but again, he denied so much mining time at that base, and definitely in a really good spot here, 3 base versus 3 base against ByuL.
Absolutely. Dead even a worker count. Double Robo on the way, interestingly enough. Twilight Council, you know, that's one thing he was missing was the Twilight tech, so Adepts, no Glaives, not anytime soon. We'll have to go into that as soon as that Twilight Council finishes. We're just going to back away with those Adepts for the time being as this Forge completes. I mean, this looks to be, you know, a game that Patience got everything he wanted out of, and ByuL was very surprised by that target of the Queens. If you get both and everything works out like that, then you can do a lot, but sometimes you miss control, or sometimes one Queen is enough for a transfuse, and this just doesn't work, or both have to happen, obviously, because in this case, you target down the Queen that had the most energy. You can't self-cast that, so well done. Now adding 5 gateways, get that infrastructure up, the +1, he's getting the Glaives, he's adding, I suppose, double Robo Mortal is going to come out with this Warp Prism, so it may
Looks
just be a
like
+1 Glaives attack.
Yeah, and you can see that ByuL on the opposite side of things, he only now gets his Hydra Den up, and he's going to have Muscular Augments on the way too. And, I mean, he will begin this Hydra production and perhaps go into Lurkers eventually, but this push out of Patience will definitely hit hard, and it will hit fast too. The Templar Archive's about halfway done. He can add in some Archons into the push as well. And it looks like he even wants to do a little bit of harass damage first with the Warp Prism. I really like this play so far out of Patience.
Yeah. He only has 1 Prism, right? He went straight into the Immortals after that, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Could have done, if he had 2, he could have, perhaps set up for an attack at the front. He could always move this, though. And has the Oracle for the full scout. Hydra's in position, but they're not enough to kill this Prism. And he can actually just pick up and evacuate. I do see a counterattack just getting set up here to hit this 4th base. Good scout here by ByuL to come over and put the hurt on that. With nothing in position, he should actually be able to force a cancel. So a big win on that Nexus.
Yeah. Interesting that Patience decides to take a 4th base and go into Storm. It doesn't really speak Patience to me, this speaks stats to me. He's like, okay, I'm just going to back off. I got a really good lead in the beginning, and now I'm just going to get even farther ahead. I thought Patience was like, okay, here we go. Double Immortal. We got Archons with the push. Maybe make 2 of them right before I hit, and I'll have like 4 Immortals and something like that with Glaives. But yeah. This is a new Patience that we're seeing here. Maybe it has something to do with the map. You were talking about Newkirk being pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, it had to. I think that was his original plan, and something in his mind changed, and he decided, okay, Hydras, I can, put the Storm onto them, kind of counter them in that way. This is a nice catch. You can grab 4 of these Adepts before they can even shade. It's not a bad response, but I have to agree with you in that a player like Stats, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with this transition with him from the double Immortals into Storm. With Patience, I go, ooh, perhaps you should have just stuck with your guns there and gone in. Well, if it wasn't his plan from the beginning, then, and this is his plan all along, then props to him. But it's not going to be easy, and this gives a lot of freedom for ByuL right now, as he just has every answer for Prism Harass, and is just left now for straight up free to take a 5th base and build up his army. As Baneling speed now, he's going to have a lot of Lings. We'll shut down this harass here once he gets over. He's going to lose a few drones. This is nice. Pops a barrier, as well as forces this army back, scouts it. 2 drones only for this. And again, I just feel like ByuL is left to too much freedom right now, especially after canceling that 4th base.
Yeah, he's sitting on 73 drones and has the macro hatch in the main. You can see 31 Banelings on the way. And so the Storms are going to have to be pretty stellar against these Speed Banes on or off creep. He needs to make sure that he hits those, because you can see 1 Sentry in the mix and only 2 Archons. So if the Banelings can get through to the Zealots and the rest of just the Lings and the Hydras can fight against the Immortals, I think ByuL could be okay. It's really going to come down to some control here. We have to see how good the Storms are as well.
He's going to try to target those Templar down with the Hydras, I suppose. Based on positioning here, he's just going to go ahead and commit. Forces the Storm out just onto Lings. A decent Storm, but he needs more than that. Okay, second one forces the Storm back. Good Storm so far, but the Zerg army continues to advance here, and he's picking off these low-range units, the Immortals, the Archons.
Stasis Ward catches 2 Banelings, the saddest 2 Banelings. They might actually get away, as ByuL has taken this part. 2 more Archons come out here, as well as 2 more actually from earlier on. So now he's up to 6, but taking a weird angle, trying to just bait ByuL into the Storms, it looks like.
ByuL is just trying to bait out the Storms, and so far he's been pretty successful. Look at this, avoiding this one as well. Oh. Templar, he's got, I think, 3 Storms left. 1, 2, stacked on top of each other. That's not how you want to do it. Okay, this one has 2 more. 154 energy currently, but look at this. He's just going to crash forward here into this army. The Hydra's superior range here, but the Warpent's coming down, and this feels like suicidal to commit this heavily in.
Yeah, I mean, he rolled all the Banelings once again into the Archons and the Immortals, and behind that, there were only Lings and Hydras, and the Storms are pretty good. I mean, he had so much energy by that point because he had gotten it so early on, and he chose to get far ahead rather than just going for the timing attack. So he's able to hold on, good patience out of Patience. Yeah. And now he's moving across the map and looking for an attack. We've seen lower, players come in and do this sometimes where they win a fight and they're like, oh, I got to go kill him right now. So I hope okay, looks like he's going to take another base.
Yeah,
I do like this.
The units of Patience are way more expensive, and they're so vulnerable out here. If he loses his entire army just because he's overextended, he could lose the game in a snap of fingers after that. It almost feels Sauron Zerg, that's what we're seeing from ByuL, like a Brood War style to just mass Hydras on superior bases and just crash them in. Not a lot of storms left because of what happened earlier. These storms are decent, but now he's very low on energy, drops another one down. Split here against is ByuL's army, and he continues to push forward here. It's a lot of Immortals, though. He's going to need more Lings to fight this, but he at least is able to stop that 5th base from coming up. That was his objective, and he succeeded. As you see some harassment here going to be set up. ByuL did make a ton of stack defense throughout his bases, so that should buy him some time to deal with the Warp Prism Arrest. This is cute. Just one Bane, not enough. But I feel like Patience needs more Storms. He needs more High Templar into the mix here. He's not really remaking those. And,
yeah, he's only got 4, as you were saying. It's basically just what he had earlier on, and they're just regaining some of the energy. This Warp Prism Arrest did literally nothing. I think he did a little bit of damage to the Spore.
He bled off some units. I mean, he misplaced it. It was under Spore range, so that's really, it hurts. Definitely weakens that harassment there. Now, this is still a strong Protoss army. If the Storms are golden, I mean, ByuL doesn't have a bank here. He spent a lot, but he's coming with a great flank here. He's going to come in from 2 angles. Ooh. Good storm, but here come those Banelings.
Banelings rolling on in. They hit a lot of the Archons in the front. What's left over from this Zerg? I think he needs some more Lings. There's only Immortals left over. A couple Archons. The War Prism comes on in, trying to micro these.
Yeah.
Seems like it's doing a pretty good job.
Immortals do very well, especially when the barriers are activated in times like this. You know, they don't have a ton of range. The Hydras cannot range them, but he wins the fight at the end because the Banelings were so needlessly crashing in there. And as you said, exactly, he needed Lings. That's what he needed. Now he's made a ton of Lings, but there are Zealots warped in with +3 attack. And Patience is going to just target down this base with the Immortals here with +3. This should go down in seconds. Down it goes. And Transfuse is being used here as ByuL just barely tries to hang on.
And really just barely. Banelings are rolling into extremely strong units, and it looks like Patience going to move on forward, kill the rest of that army. GG. He takes game number 1.
Immortals are really strong in Legacy of the Void with Barrier. In the past, barriers would activate only against heavy damage units and then would just kind of only counteract that type of damage very briefly. But that was when they had shields, right? Now they basically almost mitigate damage completely. They massively reduce the damage. And when Hydras are fighting against them with no units like Zerglings or anything like that to buffer or to pop those barriers early, the barrier comes up, you just fight the Hydras straight up. And the Banelings, he made them to deal with, obviously, you just want to kind of overwhelm those units, deal with the Zealots and the High Templar. But when it was only Archons and Immortals left, perhaps he made too many. Perhaps he spent too much larva and too much resources to bank that. You can tell in the bank as well. If ByuL had a huge bank, this is a totally different story. He just keeps crashing and eventually just out produces Patience. But in this case, he was low on money the entire time. Ended up just being a rough loss there. So Patience really understanding the late game against this type of composition.
Yeah, playing that map really well as well. I really liked the way he was extremely laid back and passive in that one, just letting ByuL come on into him, identified what ByuL was doing. Now we're going to be jumping into Daybreak right away for game number 2 here of ByuL versus Patience.
ByuL 한지원 Patience 조지현.
Fly better fly, Jin Air. Up here in the top right, the purple Zerg needs to win 2 in a row. It is ByuL.
Down here to the bottom right, or excuse me, bottom left, I should say. I know my left and right, I swear. Patience. I stick my finger and my thumb up and make the L. I'm like, yeah, left.
Is it the left side of the horseshoe or the right side of the horseshoe? It's the way that you have to do the left and right.
Yeah, it's the
wolf method.
It's the wolf method. Those horseshoes. Not as bad on this map as some others, but...
what was that one that it used to... You know, where it was originated.
Where it was originated.
It was the backdoor base.
Yeah, why can I
Was
not
it
remember
Orbital
this?
Shipyard?
Yeah,
Or
wait.
no, it was the one that
No.
was.
It was actually really similar in almost every way to this map, but it had that backdoor base that was easy to get to by air, but so the attacker had that advantage by air, but the defender had the weakness that their ground army would have to walk around the quite little U-shaped horseshoe to get from the third base to the outside natural. I don't know why I can't remember the map name right now, but
I think we casted that a lot last year.
Yeah,
but time flies.
It's a retired map, so.
Yeah.
We'll see it again one day, and I'll remember then, or someone will tweet it at me. That's probably the faster way, but either way, it was
the horseshoe map.
The horseshoe map should just be renamed for all time. Well, it's going to be 2 gated depths this time, coming out for Patience. At least that's the assumptions. This is doing something absolutely crazy with these 2 gateways. Scouts the hatch first, which is pretty common on this map. I don't want to Forge. Remember when Forge expand was a thing? Remember when that was the norm? I miss that sometimes.
Always.
Cannon rushes, things like that. Those exciting games. Nope, not anymore. A thing of the past. As the Cybernetic score comes up here, we'll see 2 adepts come out. ByuL gets a full scout. That second pedestal overlord here. Pedestal overlord's always feeling pretty breezy on this map with the fan.
Yeah, definitely getting dried off very well down there.
Super refreshing.
Yeah. Surprised they don't go just off the map, right? They're like balloons that are open at the bottom. If you put a fan beneath them, they're just going to like fly upwards, no?
Look, pay no attention to the Z-axis that Valdez describes. This does not exist. This is a 2D top-down game.
What?
There is no Z-axis. Nothing goes up. What are you talking about? Don't ask me how Reapers jump from the low ground to the high ground.
There are only
no
like
one
2
knows.
planes, ground units and air units.
Yeah.
And only some units can cross those planes, like Vikings.
We don't talk about it.
Are there any other units that... Well, I guess Colossi are on both.
Colossi are on both.
Yeah.
Vikings are on both, but only one at a time. Same with buildings, Terran buildings.
Yeah.
And units that are in an Overlord and then out of the Overlord.
That's true. Units that get dropped.
Reapers.
Do Reapers count?
No, they don't.
They just jump ledges.
They go up on the high ground, but that's still really 2D. As much as the King of Fires want to show you it's 3D, it's like really I think technically it's 2D. I'm really excited for Brood Rage team. StarCraft Remastered.
Yeah.
All right, so everything is scouted here. The Twilight Council is done. Ooh, Dark Shrine, that's a curveball. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing DT drop. But it comes back in, and we might see a cancel. He's like, wait, that's not a pylon. I could tell the difference. I'm a pro gamer. Very slight difference. He saw it. Subtlety there. Patience is going to keep it.
Yeah, he might just do Archon drops. We see that pretty often, too.
Zest did it on this map.
Yeah. This is one of the maps that it's very nice on, especially with double Warp Prism. You can go right into the main, drop them down, or you can go into the third base at the same time. Trade pretty nicely against the roaches. It's not the easiest thing to multitask, as you got to drop 2 units out of 2 shuttles, 2 Warp Prisms.
Yeah, I mean, Zest actually pulled it off really well until Beatus came out in that third and final game. But
yeah.
See, ByuL goes for a roach approach. I mean,
approach?
I mean, he's approaching the game in a roach-esque way here with a Roach Warren to defend this far off third base. And we talked about before, he's going to connect that creep in here in a moment. Only has 3 queens currently, so he's a bit tight on energy. Prism gets spotted. He has 1 spore. 2 spores being made right now. There, you see it on the production tab. Roach is coming out. The first spore, I think, is at the natural, and the second one is at the third base, but either way, they're both going to be ready. Am I wrong on this?
Looks like
main base and third base?
Yeah, one on the main, one on the third.
Okay. Ling's here to buy time. Roaches will appear soon. He's got an Overseer now as well, and it's going to be Archons, as you mentioned.
But you got to be careful. You don't want to morph him too close.
Yep, he's going to go up to the top left. This feels very similar. Double Prism, the exact same build that Zest showed on this map. So Patience, perhaps taking some inspiration.
The Overseer sees everything. Yeah. You're not getting away from that. Actually, these DTs are going to show that he's going to morph in more DTs, perhaps. Wanted to just help him out.
Yeah, the 4 Archon style is good, but we see a Spire coming up. This is how we saw ByuL deal with Zest. I mean, it's kind of really funny that we see 2 different processes facing ByuL, and he, the first time on this map, didn't make a Spire and died in this long, drawn-out game, where perhaps he played a little bit passively. But this time he's going to have the Spire, which he defeated Zest when he did the same exact build later on in the series. So he's already making that adaptation. You've seen this once before.
The only difference is that Patience doesn't go for the 4 Archons, but he might do it. He's morphing in 2 more DTs down at that bottom Warp Prism. This Warp Prism up here is going to be scouted the whole way through. He's going to drop him actually into the natural, get a couple more kills, pick him up.
To be frank, the Prism control here for Patience is not as good as Zest's was either. Only has 1 Archon this one. I have some Zealots over here to tank. Look for some damage. ByuL takes a fast 4th. Could be at least force some hits come over here with that Prism to drop off there. That's exactly what he's going to do. Zealot's actually working out really well this time. This is going to be close. You may need more than those lings. Okay, roaches do come over.
Oh, he canceled it anyway. He's like, no, just want to make sure this has full health.
I mean, it was close, I suppose, if he kind of danced around with the Prism and unloaded, you know.
Yeah, especially with the other 2 Archons.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a lot of sentries.
Yeah, the plan here may be to just attack before ByuL is ready for that amount of units with the force fields as well.
He's got Blink.
Yeah, and +1, not +2. The Archons are going to help against the Mutas in a straight-up engage, and that's exactly what we're going to see here. Double Prism, 6 Stalker Warp in. That's going to help against the Mutas as well, and ByuL is going to have to set up on the defense here. This is definitely a different game than what Zest did.
Yeah, this is totally different. I love when players do this, especially against the same player. He's like, yeah, I'm just being Zest. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to attack you. I'm going to expand to a 4th base. No, he's got a ton of Blink Stalkers, and ByuL actually loses one of them before the fight even begins. Now he's desperately trying to get a bunch of Banelings and Lings to attack, but again, there's 3 Archons here, not 4.
He has 2 Prisms to gun down as well. He's going to get both of them, though. Mutas target 1, Ravagers hit the 2nd. Patience should not have left that in phase mode there. As soon as he saw the Ravagers, should have moved back to a more secure location. Now, Patience still has a very large army. He still has a ton of sentry energy, but he doesn't have reinforcements anymore. This push was shattered when those Prisms broke there. ByuL identifying immediately what to do. Now he's already sent the Mutalists back across the map to harass where the units are not here. Okay, a few more Stalkers actually already here, though. Didn't know, sorry. But the Mutas are going to come over here regardless. Actually going to find some probes, or perhaps even that Mothership Core. I'd like to watch that. Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
He almost got it and survived.
And he's not stopping with this attack. He's just waiting for another Warp Prism to come in. There are the force fields trying to keep the Zerg army away, but a bunch of the units get surrounded up top. Not the best force fields we've ever seen. Now, ByuL definitely still has a pretty strong army here.
Okay, Mutas here not really finding anything else. It's too strong a defense here for Patience, but this means that the attack is weaker. Every unit Patience has at home makes his army on the map weaker. He decides to take a 4th instead of pushing the issue any further. And ByuL will finally, I think this time, be able to really secure that 4th base that he's been struggling to hold on to. Yeah, nice good micro with those Mutas there.
ByuL's getting fancy. He's been playing some StarCraft Remastered.
Yeah, I've been playing that 1.18 PTR too much. Sometimes I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go watch some StarCraft 2.
I have to go to sleep.
Yeah, go to
5
sleep.
a.m. Yeah.
Like, for me, Zelda took all my time, and then when the remaster, or not remaster, but of course the patch 1.18 came, and I'm like, oh, sorry, Link. Hyrule is no longer important to me.
Look at this massive attack. There's not any more force fields. So all these Banelings are going to roll on in, and the Blink was used, trying to split to the best of his ability.
Great split, in fact. Oh my god, but still, a lot of Zerg coming through, but this is a defensible position here. Patience blinks forward. You just get cleaned up.
Oh,
and it turns out, man, Baneling's not that good. That's what Patience is saying in this game. Even the Photon can't help here. And look at how aggressive he is, how confident he is with his Stalkers. Not even going to micro them back, not going to blink them all back, only blinking out individually. And he's going to catch some of these Ravagers here once Blink comes off. 1, 2. ByuL survives. I mean, he's not dead in the water here, but now Patience has a 4th base and just uses his entire army, which means Patience could sit back and, you know, do whatever he wants. He has this base up for free. Perhaps I'd like to even really see him grab some more Prisms because the Mutas were killed. He's going to use DTs on the ground first. Oop, showed them, but
Saddest Ling ever.
at least ByuL's happy about its death.
Yeah.
If he noticed, that is.
It doesn't look like he did.
Yeah.
I don't see anything going to that 5th. And that would be catastrophic. You don't want to be... Oh, he's not going to attack it. Okay.
He just finished the base, so he could have gone for the snipe, but he may think it was seen because of the Ling, because we saw the cursor on the DT, so he knew that the Ling was killed.
He wants to get,
drones, I think.
Damage, yeah.
He wants to get the drones and the hatch. Like, he could potentially get both.
Oh boy, here's the follow-up attack from ByuL. We need to see some 6 splits again. Where are the blinks? Just trying to split here at first. He wants to save that blink. Okay, this time go down.
This time not as great on the splitting here, but DT's doing some massive damage. Otherwise, Blink's back here once more. No overcharge nearby here. The probes evacuate. Some decent hits here. 9 more go down. But you know, it's just a weird, funny game now as the DTs are finding more damage. That 5th base isn't mining, the 4th is up.
If he just targeted the drones, he would have gotten so much damage done. He is going to take down the 5th base. This 4th base actually getting pretty low.
It's tough, you know, to do all of that while defending against that harass over there, as well as splitting, or rather defending against the harass, but defending against the attack, splitting against the Bailings while also microing his harass. Everything gets cleaned up here. The number advantage goes to ByuL, but the technology and positional advantage, I would say, and really economy as well, goes to Patience. So he's got great tech, he's got the blink. ByuL is going to have to upgrade his army. He's going to have to take the next step. Ling Baneling against this many Archons, you know, and more Immortals being built, and also Blink Stalkers, isn't going to work for much longer, and it's already started to fail, as we just witnessed. Blink Stalkers even going to come over here for some harass. It's just this mobility factor he has with these.
He's got to be careful not to lose those and not to fight with half his army. You see that ByuL is looking to come from 2 sides. Maybe the wraparound from the left. It actually decides against it, groups up his army once again, and was a little bit hesitant. Looks like maybe he wants to max out first on this army. Just make a obnoxious amount of Lings and Banelings first.
It's a bit disappointing to me that Patience decides to spend all of his harass money and resources on DTs and Blink Stalkers. Oh man, see, this is what you were talking about. He blinks away. Will he be able to get out? Looks like Jespero with the rest of his army reuniting. He didn't make Prisms, though. I feel like Prisms would be so good for him right now. Good micro with these Stalkers. Does lose a few. But with the Blink Stalkers, he was able to kill an Overlord, and that's about it. He has a large amount of Archons.
I don't know about this Ling Bane Ravager composition running into this. Now there's a bunch of pylons
and
with overcharge
as well behind them.
And the Banelings just roll on into a bunch of the pylons. Now they're hitting the Archons up top. Patience is going to hold this with flying colors as ByuL kind of just throws the majority of his army away.
Quality of units, man, way higher here for Patience. Press that A key on your keyboard. I'm serious, I want to see this. Yeah, a way more expensive. 2,000 gas currently in this army. So 5,000 resources of army versus about 3,400 or so for ByuL. So much gas in this army, so many Archons. And in terms of gas cost and efficiency, when you think of Archons versus Banelings, it goes off the charts, okay? There's no graph that can show this. This is, I mean, that was super inefficient. He's, yeah, like you say, I just can't really agree with this idea to attack with this army into this position that had 3 overcharges, I believe.
3 overcharges, like
so many
4
photon
cannons,
yeah.
The perfect spread of Archon Immortal and Blink Stalker, while you have Ling Bane Ravager. It's just never, it's not going to work in that way. Now he's trying to transition. He just made an infestation pit. Not sure what we'll be seeing out of that. Does he want to go into Hive here? The army right now of Patience is so scary. If he could just stop the harass and just go for an attack, I don't think there's any way that ByuL holds it.
Yeah. Look, he didn't commit to the Prism harass. I thought he would. Perhaps he was afraid the Remuta is still out there.
There's
but
the Hive.
He just didn't need it, you know? I guess at the end of the day. And now he's got a Prism, probably looking for that attack you were talking about. He's nearing max very quickly. Quality of units, I know I keep saying this over and over and over again, but I mean, this is basically tier 1 tech versus mass Archons, Immortals, Ling Ravager, Bane. Not going to cut it. Not against a player that even micros a little bit into the cannons as well, the attack there. Now here comes some Prism harass. Just a little bit. Look at how much it's already achieved.
Tap. That Queen going down to about half health. But yeah, keeps those units back. And you can see that the Templar Archives was made by Patience. He wants to get some more efficient Archons and add in more charge lots with this army. And, I mean, we have the Hive about to finish for ByuL. Is he going to go into Ultras? I mean, he's going against 5 Immortals and 11 Archons, as well as charge lots. So I don't think that's really the choice here.
I mean, he wants Broodlords, I think, but it's just going to take so long.
Oh, that's right. He still does have that Spire.
Yeah.
I actually forgot about that. It was so long ago in this game.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't ever really see Broodlords all too often anymore, but I think that's the answer. But does he have enough time? Like, that's the question.
Yeah.
And he hasn't even started yet, despite the fact that his Hive is done. He's dealing with this Prism Harass now. Look, is this killing anything? No, but look at how much movement on the map this forces. This is why I want to see the Prisms early. The Greater Spire is started now.
There it is.
And, I mean, Broodlords, long time no see. If he gets them out, though, you know, their range will absolutely decimate the army.
Yeah, and I think the question is not does he get it out, is does Patience let him get it out? Because Patience is sitting back for so long. He made like 4 more gateways, yes, but where's the attack? Look at this army, it's crazy good.
15 Archons.
He's still going against Ling Bane Ravager, by the way, and there's only 4 Ravagers.
I mean, how...
Okay, so it's 128 Lings and 36 Banelings. He could just walk into this army and kill it.
I don't know.
He could probably E-move at this point.
I don't know if there's enough.
He just needs to kill him.
I don't know if there's enough gas on the map for him to make 31 Archons, but I mean, he might actually have more Archons than there are Banelings at some point.
He's just got to attack because the Greater Spire's about to finish.
Yeah.
Corruptor's on the way. And he's going to take the long route around here, wants to go for
Oh
this.
my
I think
God.
once he sees this army, he's going to be like, oh.
He even splits the Archons, and this is just wasted Banes, and now straight Archon for Slings. GG.
There it is. Finally, he swings the hammer and takes a 2-0 over ByuL. Not what we were expecting.
I was worried there for a moment. He might just let him get the brutes out. He does attack across the map eventually there. Tier 3 units against Tier 1 units. Better upgrades. Quality, man. Attacking in there, you know, the question that you had, the question I had, probably even Patience as well. ByuL just no hesitation to run into the photon cannons, the overcharges. If he doesn't, though, it's still a rough spot for him because that not attacking doesn't give him a tech advantage or allow him to transition, but I think that was kind of the beginning of the end.
Yeah, he was stuck there. You know, a bunch of those attacks, once they didn't work, I think he should have transitioned faster from that. You know, Daybreak, a pretty big map. And especially, you know, even if it's a bad situation, once you see that setup from the Protoss, you just cannot attack. It's suicide.
Yeah, I mean, good crisis management there from Bolt, knocking out those prisms. We'll talk more about this match and the upcoming one as we get into it after a bit of a longer commercial break before we go to our match between Solar and Zest. See you then.